Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Lone Worker webinar. In this webinar, we will be covering our new Lone Worker SafeTapp feature. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Kohal, and I'm part of the technology team here at Biz. This webinar will be a screen share guided demonstration, which will walk you through setting up and using the Lone Worker feature. Everything covered in this webinar is documented in our Lone Worker FAQ, which was included in the webinar notification email and can be found in our FAQ library located in the help and support section of your BizTrainer account. Feel free to search for this FAQ and any other FAQ from the library here in that section. Like all of our other webinars, this webinar will be recorded and made available to everyone attending, as well as anyone requesting access to training materials on this feature. To preserve bandwidth, we have disabled attendee camera and microphone for this webinar. Chat is open for questions, which will be answered in a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. The demonstration of this portion of this webinar should be approximately 20 to 30 minutes, so we should have plenty of time to get all of your questions answered within the 1 hour allotted time. So let's get started. Working alone is a common safety risk across almost all industries. With our SafeTapp mobile app, the Lone Worker feature helps you to mitigate safety risks when workers are working alone. With this feature, lone workers can set and select time intervals to check in, request help in case of an emergency, and designate contacts such as team leads and managers who are notified if lone workers request help or don't check in. Notifications sent to designated contacts show the lone worker's last known locations and their contact information, and we'll give a demonstration of what those notifications look like. So before you begin using the Lone Worker module, we have to set up the global settings and enable this setting. So this module. So the first thing to do is from your BizTrainer client admin account, and I'm on the admin page here, go to the setup page to enter your company settings. From here, you'll want to do one thing first. For this module to work effectively, we recommend having the text message notifications enabled. So to find text message notifications, go to your system management settings and find the system notifications email, and you'll see a text message notifications option. Now, please note that if you turn this on, there's also a list of other items that all users that have entered a cell phone and enabled notifications will receive notifications for. Most of them are helpful notifications anyway, like account resets, activation codes, forgot password. The one that they'll receive the most notifications for likely is for new forms added. So when a form is assigned to their account, they'll receive a notification if you enable this. So once this is enabled, if you're going to enable it, we'll go into the Lone Worker system module settings. So in the system module menu, we will find the Lone Worker option. Expanding this panel and expanding the Lone Worker option will show you a list of the default global settings. So we're going to enable Lone Worker now, and I'm just going to walk you through all of the different settings that we see here. So by default, the required designated contacts ask for one required designated contact. So what this setting does is when a lone worker is setting up their lone worker feature, it's going to ask for a contact that they designate who will receive notifications about their progress as they're working alone. So by default, it's set to 1. We're just going to leave it at 1. There's this option here which says notify location managers. So this is a global setting that will apply to all lone workers, regardless of whoever they've picked as their designated contact. So you're able to say, okay, for this lone worker, on top of whoever they designate, I want these additional people to receive notifications. So I'll walk you through these. The first one is location evaluators. Now this is a user specified location specific user or group of users. I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go to our company hierarchy to look at all the locations by opening our users tab, and then we select a location that we want to designate user or location evaluators for, and we edit that location, we'll see a location evaluator window where we can add any number of users to receive notifications about that location and also from the lone worker module. So that's the first option. The rest are location-specific company roles. So this means that if you select any of these, anyone with this role at the location will receive notifications in addition to the required designated contact set up by the lone worker. The next option, we're just going to leave this off for this demonstration. Also, a default setting that's enabled and we highly recommend is requiring a contact cell phone for the lone worker to start work. So when the lone worker is configuring their module, they'll be required to enter their cell phone number, which will be used in notifications. Should there be a distress notification sent out, anyone receiving that notification will see their last location and also the contact number provided by the lone worker. The next option that's on by default is a maximum response time. So lone workers are allowed to configure their own response time, meaning that after their 3 minutes runs up and they're required to check in, there's an amount of time that they're allowed to respond within. If they don't respond within that time, a distress notification is sent. We've set that to 5 minutes here. You can set it lower if you want, and we'll show you what happens if someone tries to set their response time higher than the maximum response time amount. The next notification that's turned on by default is the lone worker start and finish notification. So by default, we have notifications going out when lone work starts, when a lone worker checks in, when a lone worker requests help, and when a lone worker misses a check-in. These are all helpful notifications we find, but if they seem like too much for you, feel free to turn off either the start and finish notification or the check-in notifications. So now that we have all that set up, we're going to click Save. And we will now go into the Lone Workers app and show you how to set up this Lone Worker feature for each worker. So I have this Lone Worker open now, but what I'll do is return home. Bear with me while I log back in. It seems I timed out. Okay. So I'm now logged in as our lone worker. And you will notice once lone worker module is enabled for users in a company, you can click on the menu icon in the upper left-hand corner, and a new working alone option is available. I'm going to click on that option. Now, by default, if a lone worker is accessing this screen for the first time, it's actually going to take them to the settings page where they're required to set up their individual lone worker settings. So as you noticed, we did make the contact cell phone required, so it's asking for that here in the app. We also required one designated contact. So here I have entered myself as the designated contact from this account. Now you'll notice that if you click on this box, it will allow you to search for anyone in the entire company. We've decided to leave that open because we don't want to put a lock on or restriction on who someone sets as their designated contact. If they know that there's someone who's more appropriate than, let's say, a manager or supervisor, we want them to have that flexibility. And you can always build in safeguards with the global notification location manager setting. You'll notice that users that can't be selected, who don't have email or cell phone, will be grayed out, so they can't be selected. I'm just going to keep myself as the respondent for now, or sorry, the designated contact. Now, response time is set to 1 minute. That's within the 5-minute maximum response time that we've indicated, so I'll leave that. And then you'll notice that there's the ability to add favorite check-in intervals. So this is just a way to have some quick intervals that you can jump to when you're enabling the lone worker feature. And I'll demonstrate that in a second. As promised, here I'll show you what happens if they try to set the response time for higher than the maximum amount. So if I try to set this to 6 minutes, it's going to say your response time must be less than 5 minutes. So we'll leave that at 1 and just back out. And now we're ready to start using our lone worker feature. A couple notes. This is highly recommended for this to be effective and to avoid any misfires with the distress signals. Lone workers should always enable their sound, which it will do. I'm on iPhone here, so I'll just make sure that this is clicked on for my ringer. And if you pull down your tray and turn up the sound volume all the way, you'll notice that I'm actually hooked up to my computer, so it's not showing, but I have it turned up all the way. And then also, you'll want to set up your notifications. So make sure that your notifications are turned on for SafeTapp. So I'm going to show you how to do that in iPhone. I'm going to go to my settings page and go to notifications. From here, I will find SafeTapp. And ideally, you'll have everything switched on for this so that you won't be missing any sounds. You won't be missing any pop-ups. If you've closed the screen and a check-in is required, it'll actually pop up with a notification letting you know you're required to check in within the allotted maximum response time. So with that all set up, I'm going to return to SafeTapp. And now we're going to start working alone. So as I mentioned, we're able to set up our favorite intervals here, or you can pick a different interval if you just want to use a one-time interval. So we could set it to 15 minutes, we could set it to 59 minutes, and we can even set it up to hours if we'd like. But for now, we're going to use 3 minutes because we do have to fill that 3 minutes. And we'll do that by showing you the notifications. So I'm setting it to 3 minutes and hitting start. And you'll notice that the 3-minute countdown starts. It will look this way until there's 20% of the time left. Then it will change to yellow. And while they're waiting to check in, they're able to enter that they're done working alone with the blue button, or they're able to swipe for help here, which I won't actually do. I'll do that later. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those 3 minutes to count down, what I'll do is I'll show you what some of the notifications look like from this app. So here we have a lone worker demonstration that I completed yesterday. So once the lone worker started working alone, and you'll actually see one from when we just started right now. So you'll see it's quite responsive. You'll get a notification that the lone worker is working alone, and we'll check in before 10:23, or sorry, at 4:01. And what I'll show you is also the email that you'll receive for this notification. So here's what the email looks like that gets sent to both the designated contact and any location managers. Then in this example that I was running yesterday, our lone worker didn't check in on time. So we were given this distress signal with contact information provided as the contact cell phone. And then we were actually given a location that we can click on to see their last known location. And we can see that's our lovely head office there. So it seems to be working well. Then our lone worker checked in. And sorry, I'll show you what this email notification looks like too. So an email notification is sent out notifying you that the lone worker did not check in, provides their contact information, and again, their last known location. It also lets you know anyone else that was included on this notification via the notify location managers. I'll leave this open, sorry, so we can still see it counting down. Then our lone worker checked back in. They had just missed their check-in, and here you can see what that looks like. So it just says worker checked in. After that, our lone worker requested assistance using the help feature. Again, it sends the contact information and the map that you can click on, and that email looks like this. Again, this includes the email, location, and a list of anyone else who is included on this notification. And finally, our lone worker checked back in, everything was fine. And then our lone worker, and that just looks like this, same notification we looked at before. And finally, our lone worker finished working and clocked out. So you can see this is quite responsive. Our lone worker had a quite eventful, harrowing 6-minute lone work period, and we're glad that they finished it safely. So now we are almost done and ready to see what happens when the check-in comes up. Now, if the app is open, it's just going to show you this I'm OK option and show you your response time countdown. If the home screen was closed, you would see a notification pop up and tell you it's time to check in. And you'd also hear quite an alarming loud sound that lets you know to check in. So I can click on I'm OK. if I didn't click on it within a minute, something would come up saying that a request has been sent for help, and you'll be able to check back in as well. And then finally, if you want, you can say I'm done working alone, or you can swipe for assistance. We'll say help is requested, and a text message notification will be sent to the designated contacts, and we can open up that text message, and we'll see it takes usually sent within the minute, but a notification will be sent right here, just letting you know that help was requested. Just wait for that to pop up. I'm not sure. Let's see here. And it typically takes a minute or so. Here we go. So we got the message that help was requested, and I'm actually just going to say done working alone now to cancel that request. And yeah, that's about it. So that shows you how to set up the lone worker module, how to set it up with the global settings, with the individual lone worker settings, and how to activate the module itself. Now, one thing that we should touch on is internet connectivity. So obviously, with everything that we've just shown you, this is a first iteration of this product for us, this feature. So it's right now it works when there's internet connectivity. What will happen if there's no internet connectivity and someone's attempting to check in, a notification will be sent. You'll notice that the notification that's sent that says that a worker has not checked in does mention that has not checked in or has lost data connection. So if you call that worker, you'll be able to determine if they have just entered an area with no connectivity and weren't able to check in. And yeah, that's how it works when there's no connectivity at this time. So yeah, that's it. I think that's it for the demonstration portion, and we'll now answer some questions. Okay. Okay, so question from Nyla. Hope I'm saying that right. The text notifications look to be all or none. Are there plans to make it form or module specific in the future? Oh, so I think you're referring to in the system settings, this text message here. Right now, it is pretty much all or none. You can pick all of these, but it might be something to look at down the road, making these module specific. Good suggestion, Nyla. Lovely. A question, Kevin, is this the same SafeTapp app? I think that's for someone else. Okay. Parth, how do we get to company settings? So from the admin page, you can click on setup. Now you do have to be a client admin to access this settings page. Will the lone worker feature work if a person or crew are working in a remote location with no cell or data coverage? So yeah, that's what I covered in the end. So again, this is a first iteration for us. Right now, if they do go offline and they're attempting to check in, that signal won't go to if they have no connectivity, there's no way for it to get to our database. So that notification will be sent saying that someone hasn't checked in due to either due to not missing a check-in or low connectivity. Okay. Yes, we will be recording this webinar and sharing it with everyone here today. Is there an option to leave alarm on or add multiple reminders or until answered? If there's only one ding and they miss it, that's no good. A phone call would be good to say that someone didn't check in. So right now, yes, it's just the one notification will come up. It does ring, so it will keep ringing until they access the app. Okay. From Dexter, is lone worker an extra cost or is it included with our package? Scott, are you available to speak to that?
Yeah, I'm here, Patrick. So currently, The team at BIS is offering the lone worker feature at no additional cost. Obviously, you'll have to integrate SafeTapp usage within your organization if this is something that you want to employ. Any organization that currently activates the module, my understanding from leadership at BIS is that it will remain free in perpetuity. Organizations that that acquire the application after our testing period and after we've sort of advanced it past version 1, at that point it would be monetized, but any organization that activates it now will have that app available at no cost in the future.
Thanks, Scott. And I've just noticed that I stopped sharing my screen when the Q&A portion started and showed someone how to get to the admin panel. So the company settings. So from admin, you can click on setup, and that's how you get to your company settings panel. The next question is, what if there's a false alarm? Say if you're in the middle of a task and couldn't hit the check-in time at the proper moment. So what would happen is you'll see here that a check-in was missed and a notification was sent, but then you'll see a check-in button here. Checking in will send that notification that the person is checked in and reset the check-in timer. Is the message text or email once you slide for help? It'll be both, depending on what contact information we have available for both the, let me open it up, for both the designated contact and the location managers entered in as global. What is the time frame, or where is it, or is there a time frame to get this away from the reliability of cell phone data coverage? So right now there's no time frame on it really. It's mostly a hardware limitation. We're looking at different ways that we can implement this so that we can send a signal if we don't have Wi-Fi, or sorry, connectivity. Obviously, Wi-Fi in a workplace would work great if that's available, but no time frame at this time. But we are doing our best and want to push this forward to make it something that works in all workplaces. Okay, so from Daniel, what happens if timer goes into alarm and the worker has no service temporarily? So again, a notification would just be sent to the person, to their designated contacts and location managers, letting them know that a check-in was missed due to low connectivity or something that they need to check on. Where was the FAQ sheet? So the FAQ sheet was included in the notification email that we sent out for this event. You can also access it here from your homepage, or once you're logged in anywhere, our help and support page. You can just search for lone worker in our FAQ library, and it'll pop up here, and you can open it and download the PDF. Can a worker check in before the countdown is finished to restart the timer? Good question. No, they cannot. They have to wait. Once you start, you can just click done working alone and start again, or wait till the interval comes up. Good question, Mark. Maybe that's something we can look at in case they have, let's say, a 1 hour and they're 10 minutes left, but they want to click on it so they can go back to work. That's a good suggestion, Mark. Matthew, is there a function that follows up with a designated contact if they don't respond to the lone worker? For example, if the designated contact doesn't answer, is there a function that sends the request to check in with the worker to another emergency contact? Not at this time. Yeah, that's something we could look at, perhaps adding a checked in option for people who are notifying so that we can have some kind of escalation. Again, this is a new iteration, a first iteration of this feature for us. So great suggestion. It's something that we'll take to mind. Can you shut off notification in text messages for all other things in the text notification setting other than lone worker? Not at this time, Tammy, but something we can look at again. Mark, will outages with BizTrainer affect the lone worker function? Yes. So if there were an outage, it wouldn't be able to connect with the central database and send notifications. Are you going to update the PDF with the new admin page and setup? Absolutely. Thanks, David. You did notice that our new settings page is not in the FAQ. One thing you will notice, though, in the new settings page, and this is a big step up, I think, for us, is there's a search functionality now. So, for example, if you search for lone worker, it's going to highlight anywhere that you can find settings for that and bring you right to it. So while the settings page looks a little different, you can search for lone worker, or you can search for text notifications, which are the two settings we touch on in the maybe text message. that we cover in the FAQ, and you can easily find them that way. But yes, David, we're definitely going to update that FAQ. So no connectivity could also indicate no cell service as well. What protocol is followed then? The email notification is sent with a missed check-in. This is all text and email notification. Is there a way of need help or missed check-in to be an actual phone call? Not at this time. Again, something we could look at for future iteration. Aaron, sorry if I missed earlier, but is there added fee charge to the current plans? No, as Scott mentioned, we typically open new features up, and as free features, we want people to use them. We want their feedback. If there's, and then once we do move to a paid feature, if we have the functionality that kind of supports and requires that, an infrastructure that needs to be paid for, then we would bring on new clients as paid, and then anyone who's already using the feature would be grandfathered in. Is there or will there be a way to this feature available to make this feature available for select roles with different requirements? Not at this time. Yeah, not at this time, but it's something we could look at. Boris, do notifications distinguish between loss of internet connection? No, they don't, because we really can't. We just know that our central database would just know that they didn't send a notification. They wouldn't know that their app is no longer connected to the internet. What is the testing period for V1? Testing period, we don't have a set timeline, but obviously when we get lots of different feedback and we start to see the common themes and the common threads and what people are requesting, then we usually work on adding second iterations gradually, quite quickly, typically. Does this system do active tracking? Nothing like that at the time, aside from the notifications that are sent out. Again, we want to just get a minimum viable product out that handles the basics of sending out notifications and letting us track our lone workers' progress, and then we kind of go from there. Okay, I have workers working alone at night. A text message will not wake me up. A phone call will. Is there a way to get that? Not at this time, but that's really good feedback, Colin. How often are location breadcrumbs placed, and can you adjust that setting? Oh, I believe you're referring to the notifications in the email. Those are just included with the distress notifications. So if a lone worker is not checked in, you'll get that. You'll get it in the text message as well. And then also if they request help, you'll see those locations as well. Good question. Mark. Okay, Adam, how do you set designated contacts if you don't want to use evaluators? We don't really use location or user evaluators with how we have our company set up. Can we pick specific users for the lone worker? No, you can't at this time. Basically, what's available is just the ability to set a location evaluator, one of these roles, or have the person just enter their designated contact. So, good question, Adam. Is there a way to limit the total working time? No, not at this time, just the check-in time and the intervals. Can workers cancel, disable calls for help? Let's say they don't need help anymore or misclick. Yes, so that's again where I showed you the start. If they click a swipe for help, there's the check-in option. So click start here. You can swipe for help, and then done working alone would send something. So in a roundabout way, you can send a message. But again, good feedback. I think once someone swiped for help, maybe we can have a cancel button there. Does the app have the ability to check Wi-Fi strengths within the building? If low, will it pause till out of the building? Not at this time. Does it work with Android Auto and or Apple CarPlay, as we have lots of co-workers who drive for work, don't want them using phones while driving? No, it does not work for Apple CarPlay. This app does not work in Apple CarPlay. Is there an alternate or designate escalation option? No. Is there a way to limit the time for check-in intervals? No, there isn't. That's totally up to the the lone worker. Thanks, AJ, for the question. And just so you know, we will take all these questions and put them in a list. A lot of these questions, I'm guessing, are feedback that are there features that you'd like to see. And if we see something that 5 people have asked for in this chat, we'll know that that's something that we need to consider. If they click done working alone, the manager get a notification each time they do. Is that correct? Like when they update their time? Yes, they would get a notification. So notifications again come out for, I'll just open that up again so we can see. So when they start working alone, when they don't check in, when they check in, when they request assistance, and when they finish working alone. Again, here are the notifications that you can turn off. By default, they're all turned on: the start, stop, check in, and then to distress. You can't turn off the distress, obviously, but you can turn off anything that's a non-distress. Okay. Sorry, I've lost my screen here. Questions? Here we go. Okay. If they clicked on working alone, the manager, oh, sorry, I got that one. Please confirm the user can change the contact at different times. They can change between working alone sessions. I'm not actually sure if you change the settings during a session, if that would change who the contacts are. Good question, though. Is there a daily log of the previous day's activities that would be emailed the following day? No, not at this time. For say, a lone driver in a remote area can be set up specifically to a greater time that would not affect previous workers' time limits in other areas to check in. Well, I'm not, I think with this one, each lone worker can set up their own intervals. So you can either set up, if you want to check in every 2 hours, you can do that. Every lone worker can, in any area, can set up their own time frame. I'm not sure if I understand that question. I hope I answered that, Karen. If not, just feel free to email me or let me know and I can speak to it better. What are the minimum system modules required to use the lone worker module? We have a lot of the clients are concerned about working alone, but aren't interested in many of the other modules at this time. I don't think there are any. I think this can be enabled as long as you're using SafeTapp. What is the cost per phone or month? There is no cost for this right now. Is there 24/7 support? We do have a call, 7-day support. It is during business hours, North American business hours we have coverage for. We do have a 24-hour line that you can call it or email for support. But again, it's you'll be responded to during business hours. I hope that answers that question. Is this working on Android phones like Samsung? Yes. So SafeTapp is available on iOS and SafeTapp, and so is this feature. If you're the designated person for check-in, you're legally not allowed to be unavailable, sleeping during their phone check-in times, FYI. Good to know. Thanks, Adam. Is there a way an admin can see what the lone worker settings are? No, they cannot see their own lone worker settings at this time. Would it be possible to view a report on the admin dashboard that would show all the lone worker activities? So that's a good suggestion, Renee. I think we've seen that a few times, so you can probably expect something like that to come sometime down the road. And Tammy, just a comment, just wondering because managers might get way too many unnecessary additional notifications. Okay, the longest interval for check-in looks like once a day. And for the maximum response time, I don't think there's a minimum here. You could probably put whatever you want there. Okay, who are the external emergency contacts when you swipe for immediate assistance, or is it internal contact? So when you swipe for assistance here, or when you don't check in, whoever is indicated in the lone worker's individual designated contact here, and then also whoever's a global location manager will receive those notifications. And again, they look like this. Has not checked in with the message, and then the email notification looks like this. Okay, let's see. A report would be great. Yes, so adding that feedback to the pile. Thank you, Tammy. And can you make this mandatory somehow? Not sure I understand, Lisa, the mandatory, which aspect? Or maybe just give me some more clarification on that. Can the lone worker designate someone outside of the company? No, AJ, they can't. That'd be something we could look at for a future iteration, maybe the ability to just enter an email address. Can they add a second contact? Yes. So here we've only required one. If we were to set this to 2 or 3, then in the phone they would see that the number required. But I do note it does make it required that they enter that number of designated contacts for certain positions, like how you would make training required. Clarification from Lisa. I see. I don't think so at this time. Maybe let's just touch base after and tease that one out. I just want to make sure I understand it. It sounds like maybe a good idea. And can you have a second? None required. No. So if I understand what you're saying, can you set it to 2, but make it so that they're not required to enter anyone? These might meet the threshold of sending out the notifications that you're looking for, or maybe just make 1 of 2 required. Not at this time. Could be something we look at. Hope I understood that, Tad. Let me know. If the lone worker cell number and emergency contact number associated with the user's account info, or is it added in the lone worker settings menu? Yes, so that is a good question. They have to be entered in the user's account. So if you were to search my account and see my email would have to be in there, and my phone number, if we're using text. The phone number isn't required, I don't believe, but it will say when they're trying to select someone without an email, it won't make them available as an option. They have to have at least email. Okay. And all right, I hope that answers your question, Matthew. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? Again, we will be sending out a notification. There'll be contact information if you do have any other questions or suggestions. We're open to all kinds of feedback, and we appreciate anyone using our software and giving us feedback on how we can make it better. So please do reach out to us, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye, everyone.